All right, welcome back to cold, snowy Ohio. You can see the snow on the ground. Liza's staying warm. And we're going to do somewhat of an annoying video, at least for me. Before we do, let's start out with a boot check. These are the Blackjack, Alligator Belly, and Black Cherry. So I got the flannel shirt on today for it's cold, and so we'll go with the red theme. And this is the Zellos with the maroon red dial. All right, so an annoying video, and I'm starting out with bad videography already, but well, I was watching a new release video by Kirby Allison. If you haven't watched Kirby's videos, they're fantastic. And he's got some a great series on his trip to Cuba, and he did a tour of the El Laguito factory, the Cohiba factory that we did, and it was a great video. And he's smoking Cohiba. And it got me hungry for a Cohiba. And I realized that, but they're probably all fake. Or they're not authentic or what they purport to be. And I'll explain that. I've explained in other videos. And mind you, I got all of these from Cuba. I got them all personally from Cuba. So why do I think they're fake? Well, a number of reasons, but we're going to pull out a couple and dissect and smoke and compare. So here is what I am comparing. And it's quite a list. These all somewhat purport to be Cohiba cigars. Only the first one, I believe, is an authentic. And you can see there in the gold part of the label there how Cohiba is written out. Other people have said take a infrared or a black light to check the label, but this label looks to be authentic. The cigar looks to be the right color. You can see the shorty next to it. It's a horrible wrapper, or a horrible label, I should say. Cuba is like going up into the Cohiba part. The Cohiba is really kind of splattered on there. There's nothing in the top around the ring. Another one, two more that I use for comparison purposes. If you can see the contrast, I don't know if the light will show in the shade, and this one's kind of beat up. That third one with the tip on it, or towards the bottom there, it's cracking. It's got some kind of splotch in the middle. The next one doesn't look as bad, but again, the labels are not done well. You can see the squares going up. Here's a Bahique that does have sort of in the middle of the face there, the other hologram, but again, I believe that one's a fake. Ironically, probably the best one of the bunch is this one without a label, and I got that one from one of my friends who said that he got it from the Cohiba factory, and he may have. We went in there. I've smoked those. They're great cigars. So the sad irony is probably the closest to the real thing is the one without a label. The Cohiba Black is the non-Cuban version of Cohiba, and then you've got the JR cigar, the replica, which isn't a bad cigar, and that one's about a $4 cigar, so it may be the best deal in the bunch. But I'm going to smoke a couple of these, compare them, and then kind of see where we go. So let's take the best and probably the worst examples, and I'm actually going to light these two up. I'm going to tear apart this one that's the lighter shade that I clearly believe is a fake, And I'm going to talk about how I got these and what the dilemma is about finding a true Cohiba. All right, so the only consolation I really have here is that for those of you who have also smoked what you thought was an authentic Cohiba, it was probably a fake or an imposter or not quite what it purported to be. It's just the sad reality of it is that there are so many fake ones out there, and it's only going to get worse. This is what I believe is the authentic one. Great draw, no obstructions, pre-light. So it's going to get worse. Why? Because the prices are so ungodly high. I'm actually going to do this humidity tester on them to see kind of what, if there's any difference. They were all in my humidor. So this one's coming in at 60% humidity, which is pretty good. That's about where I did stick it in my mouth, but I don't know that that'll make a difference. The fake coming in at 53, so it's not holding as much moisture. Not surprising, it's got the crack in it, so I don't know. Crack in the label, not crack in it. So, all right, let's fire up this one, and I'll tell you why I have so many fakes. And some people say, I love the comments, by the way, on some of my videos, like, if you know it's a fake, why are you smoking it? Well, good question. The answer is probably because it's still a decent cigar, and you just can't, it's very difficult to find a real one. Cohibas especially. So 3 puff test on this one. Perfect. Great flavor. I'm hopeful so far. So why is it so hard to find a real Cuban Cohiba, even going to Cuba? I mean, your chances of finding a real Cuban Cohiba in Mexico or somewhere else are even less than going to Cuba. Now, some will say, well, I go to the La Casa del Habanos, the official Habanos store in Cabo or Puerto Vallarta or wherever you might go. And yes, most likely that is legitimate. And you can do that. But in Cuba, this Cohiba here, this Robusto, which is drawn great, tastes great. So far, I think it's the real deal. So I can go back to enjoying Kirby Allison's video, knowing I'm smoking an actual Cohiba. But in Cuba, this one's going to be $60, $70, something like that now for one cigar. I mean, the prices have gone up dramatically. In Mexico, there's a couple other YouTubers that do some price checks on these, but you can look into it, but likely well over $100. In Canada, this is probably closer to $200. Europe, I'm not sure. And so they're pricing it out of authenticity. And I think that is a little bit dangerous because, again, people will think they're smoking a Cohiba and they're not. They're going to say, well, it's not that great of a cigar. The real Cohiba is a great cigar. So, so why do I have so many? Well, I've been to Cuba, and even in the La Casa del Habanos, there's a real chance that you may be getting a seconds. You know, it's going to be an authentic Cuban, but is it going to be what it purports to be? Maybe not, especially if you didn't buy the full box unopened, because there's a need for the black market in Cuba. The wages are incredibly low. And so even in the shops, they have to try to supplement their income by getting good fakes and putting them in the boxes. Now, do I know that for sure? No, I don't. I've had others tell me that's what happens. I've tasted the cigars. I've seen the cigars. Some look different than others, and so I highly suspect that is true. But take it as my speculation. Also, I have friends in Cuba that will bring me cigars, and sometimes they'll bring me a bundle of Cohibas that I don't believe are the authentic Cohibas that they would have in the box in the shelves unopened in La Casa de Habanos, because they're too inexpensive, right? I'm paying $5-10 a stick, and so you just know they're not. But I think they're good fakes for the most part. I tend to stay away from those, but sometimes I have no choice, because sometimes I sort of get what I can get. And I may get a bundle of Romeos that I think are more likely to be authentic. And that's a whole nother subject, but the non-Cohiba Cuban cigars, I think you have a better chance of them being authentic because there's not such a market for them, there's not such a markup. So I believe your chances of getting one of those that are authentic are better. Now, I have this other one. And I want to light it. It's a slightly different size. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I mean, that may be, I have to look up to see the actual sizes. But then we're going to open this up. We're going to unroll it and see. Hopefully it's not made from floor scraps and that it has full leaves in there, but I'm at least going to light it. The wrapper's pretty plain. It's already cracked. I mean, this thing, it was bad shape in the humidor, so I thought I'm going to throw it away, but I might as well at least light it and see what kind of taste difference there is. Now, I don't know if it's going to make the 3-puff test because, again, it's cracking. If there's some nasty shit in there, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I smoked it. No, it's falling apart already. The flavor is pretty non-existent. It's smooth. I'm almost 100% sure it's Cuban tobacco because, again, I got it from Cuba. But huge flavor difference. The wrapper, the shade, The draw, the taste, everything is much different on this other Cohibas. I'm not even going to smoke any more of this, but let's take it apart and see what's in it. This Cohiba continues to be pretty decent. Now, what I was saying as we walk back to the other cigars is that I have one without the label that my friend said came from the factory. It's a great cigar. So the irony of this whole thing is that may be the best one of the bunch. And the best value, ironically, may be the JR, because at least you know you're not getting a fake. You're getting a fake, but it tells you it's a fake, and it's only $4. I think the worst value is probably the non-Cuban brand. So this is the black. You can see the label's not even that great on that. Nice oily. I think it's pretty good smoke, but you're paying basically for the name, and the tobacco's okay. But I'd rather try to get a Cuban. So this is the one from the factory, and again, it's kind of made to be like a Bahique, the tip. Great cigar. I'll review some of those. The obvious fake Bahique here, but again, actually I've smoked several of these and I've given some away. They're really good cigars. So I think because they purport to be Bahique, that those who make them, it's a high quality Cuban cigar still. This is another one of the bad labels. Actually, not a bad looking wrapper, except for that that blotch in the middle. But a bad label, and then this is the worst one of all. So this was just a horrible label, small. I don't even know what size that purports to be, but let's take this Cohiba here that I started to smoke that I said was bad. And let's set these aside, and let's take this apart, because generally speaking, you can tell, I'll ash it here, you can tell whether or not it has complete leaves in there or it's pieces of leaves. So we'll get the label off here. Let the camera work here. Yeah, the label's actually stuck on there pretty good. Now it's coming off. You can kind of see yeah, it's a very thin, chintzy label, very different than the others. And then I'll kind of take this and see again. I said it was kind of falling apart, so I'm going to get that outer wrapper off there. So we can't really tell much from that, other than the fact that it's a kind of a putrid color, bad color, and you can tell it's kind of dry. I mean, it was in the humidor, but you know, good quality control, which I'm sure they don't do on a lot of these fakes, is to make sure that they have appropriate humidity levels in them and they draw well. So trying to find where it will crack open, kind of getting it right there. Looks like right in, maybe. Yeah. Got a gap there, but okay. All right, here we go. So, almost like a little weird. It's like two of the same leaves rolled together. There, coming apart. All right, so obviously one big leaf here. No cigar beetles, that's a good sign. And then truth will be in the rest. So, all right. So you see a lot of this little. So, yeah. You know, I don't see any mice shit or anything in there, but, you know, it's basically pieces of leaves. It's not full leaves. It's pieces. So you can see more there. They just kind of, so that's not, so that one's kind of a full leaf. What else we got here towards the end? Again, more kind of, that one's a full leaf. So it's actually not terrible fake in here. Yeah, there you go. You got junk. So, again, not, you know, not the worst, but certainly not. I'm not going to take this one apart in comparison. I did that in another video you can look at, but all in all, it's not as bad as I thought it could be, but it wasn't that surprising either that it had some, you know, they took pieces and put it in together instead of taking whole leaves. So in any event, you know, lessons learned, I don't know. I mean, I continue to look for good Cohibas. I'm happy with this one I'm smoking. But who knows? Maybe it's just a good fake. I don't know. So let me know your thoughts. The continued mystery of Cuban cigars, and especially with Cohibas, fascinates me to some extent. I don't know why. But I'm going to go back to Kirby Allison's video and finish that tour of the Cohiba factory and finish this Cohiba cigar, I think. Until next time. Yeah. There they are. All right. We'll see you soon.